I'm Chief Thomas Taffy of the MTA Police Department, here with Inspector Douglas Rucano and Captain Matt Medina from the MTA Police Department, along with detectives and members of Special Operations Division. I'm also joined by New Haven Police Department Chief Carl Jacobson and New Haven Mayor Justin Elliker. At 9:01 last night, the MTA police officers arrested 19-year-old Dayron Sanchez, whose date of birth is December 22nd, 2003, of 2 Mansfield Street in Derby, Connecticut, in connection with the shooting at New Haven Union Station. I want to thank the Derby Police Department for assisting with that arrest, which just took place at the suspect's home in Derby. One man was seriously injured in the attack on July 5th, and he was recently released from the hospital. This was not a random attack. The victim and gunman, along with the second suspect, were involved in a dispute right before the incident and were believed the victim was the sole intended target and no other riders were involved. The search for the second suspect is ongoing, but we do believe that Sanchez is the one who fired the gun. I want to share with you now the details and the circumstances leading to the arrest. The detectives from the MTA Police Department were able to obtain high-definition images of the suspect from MTA security cameras, which tracked his movements throughout the MTA system before the shooting. From that photo, the suspect was identified through multiple tips from the public. The arrest took place at the suspect's home in Derby. Other relatives, including a 3-year-old child, were evacuated from the house before police engaged the subject, who surrendered without incident. MTA detectives then obtained a warrant to search the house and later found a gun matching the caliber of the firearm used for the shooting. Sanchez was then brought to the MTA New Haven substation here to be processed and sent to the courts, where he is now awaiting arraignment on the charges of first-degree assault, criminal possession of a firearm, and criminal possession of a pistol. In addition to the Derby Police Department, I want to thank our partners in New Haven Police Department, as well as Connecticut State Police and Track PD for the work immediately after the shooting. I also want to acknowledge the prosecutor's office in Connecticut and of course our members of the MTA Special Operations Division and the Detective Division that I have to give props to. They safely brought this subject, an armed subject who was in his home, to custody without any incident through de-escalation and basically talking him out of his house. I'd like to turn the mic over now to Mayor Elliker for additional comments.
Thank you, Chief Taffy. So there was a scary incident, right? It was a really scary incident, especially because this train station is very, very active. Thousands of people coming in and out every day. And for folks on the train, I'm sure it was very, very frightening. What's important is a number of things. First of all, the individuals that were involved appear to have known each other or been targeting each other. And that is very typical of most of the violence that we see in New Haven and other places around the community. So it is very important for people to understand that Union Station is a safe place to come. Thousands of people come here every day, and this situation, while deeply unfortunate, was one that is very, very, very unusual. The second thing that's important to underscore is just how collaborative this effort was. I want to very much extend my thanks to Chief Taffy and the MTA Police, who acted quickly in collaboration with the New Haven Police Department, with Amtrak Police, with the State of Connecticut Police, and in addition to the security that is at the Parking Authority of Union Station and the Department of Transportation as well. Because of that collaboration, people putting aside any issues and saying we've got to make sure that we act quickly to keep people safe, the MTA police was successful in identifying the suspect and bringing that individual to justice. So we're very, very grateful to you and your team for making sure that you held that person accountable in a way that didn't put others at risk. I'd like to hand it over to Chief Carl Jacobson, New Haven Police Department, to add a couple of additional words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I want to thank Chief Taffy and the MTA police. When I responded on scene, MTA officers, those are the heroes over there. They were already working on the victim and helping save his life. Our officers arrived and helped secure the area, but it's real important that these officers that were working here went out there and started first aid on the victim. That is extremely important, or we'd be talking about a homicide here. And then, of course, the detectives that ran down the rest of the work. this is what happens when we collaborate and work together. And I want to especially thank Captain DaCosta. He got here seconds after I did, took control of the scene, and then we were assisting agency, and he did an excellent job, Captain. So, this is what happens when we work together. Thanks, Chief. Real good job helping us keep New Haven safe.
We'll open up to any questions at this time.
Okay, for questions, we're going to start off with Hector Molina from WFSB, CBS 3.
Thank you. Chief, if I know on that night the suspect went off in a city bus, could you explain the timeline from the city bus to when you guys put him into custody?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks now, and through the course of investigation, we're not going to discuss too many details of the investigation, but a lot of it hinged around identifying the subjects, obviously, and then their movements. Once a subject is identified, then we have to track their movements electronically and through other videos when it comes to the buses and where they may have went after that. Once again, mostly it was based on the photo evidence that led us to this, and there's going to be other evidence that comes forward, obviously, that's going to link them to the case.
All right, we have Tim Hoffman from WTNH. Tim.
Hi, guys. 2 quick questions. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how the suspects and victim know each other? And then can you also give us an update on the victim's condition?
I cannot elaborate on their acquaintance as of yet, because it's still part of the investigation. The suspect, the victim, is recently released from the hospital, and he's at home. So we visited him. When was yesterday? 2 days ago, we visited him to get a follow-up on some information.
All right, Chief, we have Catherine Hauser here from WTNH as well. Catherine.
Hi, just wanted to quickly ask, I saw in the arrest warrant that it seems that this second suspect who's still on the loose, that there's a name, that you're familiar with who this individual is. Can you update us on the search for this individual and where you're at?
I'll turn it over to Inspector Ricano. He's the lead detective on the case, the commanding officer of the Detective Division, and maybe give you some extra updates on this. But most likely, we can't give you too much, right?
Hello. In reference to that, being that the case is still active and we have additional information on that suspect, it's hard for me to reveal anything at this time. So the case is still active, but yes, we're moving in the right direction with that. Yes.
All right, we have Julie LeBlanc here as well. Julie.
Can you talk about that person still being on the loose and the safety of this community with that person still being out in the open? How closely do you have your eyes on him?
Very close. But as far as the safety factor goes, we believe the shooter we have. So the other individual was part of it, but wasn't the actual shooter.
Follow-up question here. Can you talk about the 2-week time frame that this took? I know there was a lot of frustration from people in the community. We had these guys' faces on camera. We know that one of them has a past and has been arrested before, both of them actually. Can you talk about why it took 2 weeks to get to the point that we did today?
Well, with any investigation like this, obviously you want to gather your evidence, and you want to make sure that you have everything, all your dots dotted and your T's crossed, because you don't want anything to go in the wrong direction. So obviously it's a lengthy, long investigation, and my detective unit and working with the other agencies did an outstanding job, tirelessly looking at video, interviewing witnesses, and whatever was entailed with it. It does take time, and you want to make sure that you have a success, and so far we're in the right direction with that.
Catherine Hauser. Oh, Chief.
I'll follow up with that. One, we did get the gun, which is very good, so you have the picture of it there. We believe this is the gun that was used in the shooting. Further forensic investigation will solidify that. And also, with the second suspect, and the time it took, sometimes just developing a lot of that evidence to arrest somebody hinges around the actual arrest. So when an arrest is made, the clock is ticking. Right, so we want to get as much evidence as we possibly can, as to not overstep, arrest the person, then he gets released on a lack of evidence.
Catherine Hauser has one follow-up question for you, Chief.
Sure.
You talked about the cooperation between departments. How many departments work together to make this arrest in this case?
You can see that there's a lot of separate departments here. I'm fairly, been about a year in this capacity. I worked in the NYPD prior to that, where we were solely the agency in the city, and the absolute cooperation that we've had with so many different agencies has really surprised me. And it's one of the talking points of this investigation, from the incident that happened itself, the fact that Amtrak police were here, New Haven police officers were here, the MTA police officers together helped the victim, search for the suspect, and then the Derby police officers then helping us with the case. The fact that we're in Connecticut, when we're a dual state agency, and we're in Connecticut getting help from local authorities when it came to making this arrest last night, which is a dangerous type of arrest, to arrest somebody inside their house knowing that there's a gun inside that house. So once again, I thank all of these police officers. I'm just here to be their spokesman, obviously. They're the ones that were here late until last night getting this job done, and very safely. And I was very concerned myself. The Chief Muller, who is the chief of the MTA Police Department, we were in constant contact with them to make sure that if we had to go into the house, that would be the last thing that we wanted to, especially when there was a young child in the house. We were able to safely get everybody out and to get the subject to come out actually too and surrender.
All right, Chief, one last question from Fox 61's Julie LeBlanc here.
So this you probably cannot answer, but I'll ask it anyway. In the 2 weeks that you were searching for this suspect, seems like they were going on a couple of joy rides on the CT transit system. What do you know about what he was doing in those 2 weeks?
I don't think we can divulge anything that we do know about what was happening and the tracking of his movements. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.